Welcome back, familiar, to Northside LDN. And today, Arsenal fan Daud says after City masterclass win, Arsenal are going to go invincible again. I don't know what that feel that put the smoking over there, but we're going to get straight into it, caramba. Let's go, puta que pariu.
What did I tell you guys? On my previous TikTok account, I said to you guys, we're going to beat this City team. I see weakness in the City team. This isn't Man City FC. This is Kevin De Bruyne FC. And let's talk about Erling Haaland. Without Kevin De Bruyne, where is Erling Haaland?
Right there. It's Rodri FC. It's Rodri FC. It's City or Rodri FC. Bro, did you not see what happened? No Rodri. They lost to Wolves. They lost to Newcastle. Now they lost to Arsenal. Bro, it's not a coincidence. This is why we paid 110 million for Declan Rice, bro. And by the way, big up for having me, bro.
Nah, big up, big out. Listen, we're going to get into it, familia. It's going to be probably going to get heated. We're going to get into it. Let's keep going.
Saliba, please. Saliba, this message to you. Check your back pocket. Check your back pocket. Is Saliba, is Haaland in there yet? Is he still in there? We're going to go undefeated, boys. I've said it. Last time we won the league 2004. We're going to win the league this year, 2024. 20th anniversary. Just for the anniversary, undefeated. 2.0, reloaded. Reloaded. I'm saying it straight up. We're going undefeated again.
I'm sorry. I'm not having this. Yeah, straight away. I'm not having it. I'm gonna stop it there. What is this filo da puta talking about, bro? Let's not forget. People were panicking. Yeah, when we got slapped up by Lungs. Let's keep it real. The Man City game, Declan Rice, our two centre backs played. They played very well, kept us in the game. Let's not forget though, Odegaard. Yeah, Odegaard. That's not a captain, bro. That is not a captain performance. And let's not also forget, in the North London derby, we went 2-1 up. Within 1 minute, we conceded. We've seen that this team can turn it on and turn it off. This manager has not put a convincing performance in the Premier League this season. The only performance we had convincing was PSV. PSV. No. Let's keep it real. We defended well. We didn't create well, and we didn't attack well.
We scored 4 goals, bro.
Against who?
Bournemouth.
Yo, that's the level, yeah? That's the level. That's the level where you
said we only had 1 performance.
No. Sorry.
Say 2. At least say 2. At least say 2.
They're there for the taking. Everyone's going to slap them up this season, especially anyone in the top 6. I'm not hearing none of it about Bournemouth.
Come on, Tottenham only beat them 1-0.
Listen, we have not played convincingly. We're not playing fluid football. Our midfield looks shot. Odegaard doesn't look like the player he was last season. Then we've replaced Saka with Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz has got, 1 goal, 1 assist in 8 games? The guy's a bum. Tyrona spreading around the whole pitch.
But with everything you just said, we're undefeated. 8 games into the league, we have one of the best defenses. We've scored 16 goals. We have a 10-goal difference, and the team has only dropped points twice. Last season, we only lost 1 game at this point. So basically, we're 1 point behind where we were last year. We're not that far behind. You're making it seem like there's a country mile. And also, this season, people are more prepared for us. They know who we are. There's no more disrespecting Arsenal trying to come to the Emirates and play football. Guys come to the Emirates and they play Brexit football. They play 2 banks of low block, Sean Dyche, lump it long. That's what they do.
Bro, I'm not hearing none of that. At the end of the day, last season, when we're 8 points clear, yeah, City caught up to us and everyone was telling me, oh, just ignore the signs. I can see that this midfield isn't sourcing the way it was last season. Last season, we had goals all over the pitch. We had everyone creating. We had a midfield against Man City. That was an excellent defensive display. But let's not call it masterclass, because going forward, away from the defense, we were shocking. We didn't create enough. Odegaard was not ripping them open. Our strikers, Trossard was shocking, a player that I do actually rate. Nketiah, absolutely, that top boy Duchesne does nothing. Even when it's a simple pass to Declan Rice free in the box, he doesn't make it. And also, Jesus, we can see that his best position is through the middle. He doesn't perform the same way through the middle that he does on the right, and we're compensating.
Okay,
why? Because your manager
thing.
didn't compensate for us going out there and getting a replacement for Saka. Why didn't he play Reece Nelson since he gave him a new contract?
Forget about Reece Nelson, bro. Irrelevant point. Let me say
irrelevant. What, you not wanted him to sign a new contract?
The strength in this team is the midfield and the defense. And Mikel Arteta relied on the strength of this team. He knows that attack is not going to go and score 2 goals versus City and try to outscore City. So what he did was he tried to have a cagey game, and our strength is our midfield and our defense. We know that if we rely on our strength, we're going to have a better chance to win. Why try to outscore City? Why try to outscore any team in the league? We are a better team when we control the game using our defense and our midfield. And me and you can both sit here and say our best players are our defenders, like Saliba, Declan Rice, and our attackers in that game specifically with Saka out, Jesus playing on the right, and Martinelli coming off the bench, were not the best. And you want to know why they're not the best? One, due to injury, and two, they've not all been in form yet. Once we have Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli back up top, we'll see better offensive performances. No need to panic, bro.
No need to panic. I'll tell you what, last season, you're telling me to just trust and the benches, we can rely on the bench and our strengths. This is still near enough the same team we had last season. So there's reason for me to not be happy, bro. A lot of this bench is still the same thing from last season. And also the defense, we got an injury to Timber that I can't put on Arteta. He got injured, he looked well. Yeah, but other than that now, it's looking exactly the same. That's the exact same defense that bottled it last season. This is the same bench and midfield that bottled it last season. Yeah, last season we were playing scintillating football. And also, let me tell you this. We got second last season, yeah, with getting out of all competitions and focusing this same squad in one competition. He's now got to rotate the same squad that was a light bench last season in 2 competitions. You can't throw away the Champions League. And that is why I am concerned. Yes, Mikel Arteta did a lot of good decisions against Man City, but he did a lot of bad decisions in other games. I've not seen it consistently. And this bench ain't fixed. When you look at that bench ain't fixed. It's the same bench that everyone
forget about the bench. What you just said is blasphemy. That is blasphemy. You are affecting the football gods. You basically sitting here and saying that our midfield and our defense is the same. Bro, are you forgetting we bought Declan Rice? Declan Rice alone single-handedly shuts down that team. He changes the game. Now, with Partey, Declan Rice, and Odegaard, bro, you never have to worry. We got that safety blanket. I would say bring the best version of City fully fit against that team that we played on the weekend. We would struggle. But guess what? Us fully fit versus them fully fit, I trust us. Our bench, you keep saying our bench is not good. Guess what? We've had the best performing bench this season. Guess who's come off the bench and contributed? Martinelli came off the bench and contributed. Even though he's a starter, he contributed. Fabio Vieira came off the bench and contributed. These guys are coming off the bench.
Did they do it against Lons?
Gabriel Jesus.
Did they do it against Lons?
Guess what?
Because these are the games that and Lons ain't even a top team in Europe. Let's keep it real.
Wolves the other day.
Let's keep it real, but he didn't. What about when we drew against Fulham? Yeah, the thing is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't see the longevity. Fabio Vieira has not done it in a consistent basis for you to have a big enough sample to say he can keep this up to the end of the season. Neither is ESR. And when you look at our best midfield 3, everything else on the bench is a drastic drop-off. Partey, Rice, and Odegaard is our best midfield. You take out Odegaard, which isn't world-class, and you put Fabio Vieira, it's a big drop-off.
That's not
Fabio Vieira's never done the same as Odegaard. When you take out Partey or Rice and you put El Nene, that's a huge drop-off, which is why we went out and get Declan Rice. Yeah, and when you take out Rice, yeah, if he's playing the 6, and then you play Havertz is an absolute bum. Yeah, and then if you're going to put anyone else, it is a drop-off, bro. We don't have the same quality. The starting 11 has good quality, but ultimately, what was the excuse? Light bench. It's the same bench, bro. He's not even trusting the players he re-signed. Reece Nelson, why re-sign him if you're not going to play him? Stop the cheapskate thing and go get the player, bro. It ain't good enough. We're not as strong as you think we are.
Guess what? We are better than majority of these teams in the league. You think, who are you comparing us to? You're comparing us to City. We just beat City. Why are you worried, bro? Relax, calm down. Let's see what the next clip has to say, because I'm not too stressed, bro. Him saying we can do the treble or him saying we can go invincible, at this point, it's satire. I don't think we're going to go and do the invincible, but bro, we could get 90 points. Easy.
We need to win the league. Bro, let's go to the next
90 points is going to win us the league, no?
Because for me today, Arteta tactically outfought Pep today.
Became the master, not the student today.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say master because Pep's still the master, right? But I thought today, you know what I mean, he outfought Pep. His tactics that good.
Yeah, he did do a good job. He nullified him. But to be honest, if it wasn't for a deflection, that game was more going towards a 0-0 draw than a win. We didn't really create anything going forward. We created
more than City. We created more than City.
Yeah, and silly. And City weren't scintillating, is my point. It's not,
because we
let's be real,
them.
we'll take the win, but it wasn't an amazing performance where we were blitzing. Their goalkeeper didn't have much to do. They didn't. We didn't. We weren't peppering their goals. We weren't creating loads of chances.
1 second, bro. You can't in one sentence say we nullified them, and in the other sentence say, oh, they didn't do much. Which one is it? Did we nullify them, or did they not do much?
Two styles of play. Two styles of play. When I'm criticizing the attack, that's to score goals and create chances, which is why I criticize the midfield and the attack. When I'm talking about the defense, that's us nullifying Haaland, nullifying Foden, nullifying their attack. Completely two different things, which is why I praise the defense and I don't praise the midfield and the attack.
Guess what? Guess what? The defense is part of the team. And what we did in that game was we relied on that being our strength. We pushed and we relied on our strength. If that game was a high-scoring game, City have better finishers than us, better strikers than us, better goal scorers than us. What we did was we relied on cutting off the supply line, pushing them out wide, and forcing them to play a different style of football. That is not only on the defense, it's also on the attack. If you look at the way that the attackers were pressing, they were pressing certain people to trigger the press. They were also making sure that they were ushering people into the right direction. So as much as you might say the attack wasn't good enough, guess what? That game, the goal was to try to get a jammy goal and win the game.
So now we're praising the attack for pressing. I'm sorry. This is exactly.
I'm not praising the attack. I'm praising the team.
That is part of the job.
Bro,
ultimately, it ain't all the job, bro.
Stop looking at the team as three separate parts and look at it as one. It is Arsenal Football Club as one, not the attack against the midfield, against the defense. Why are we separating it to criticize one part of the team and not the whole team performance?
Because as an attacker, your bread and butter is assist and score. Your part of your job, yes, is to press. Ultimately, we like players
as the team.
We rate world-class players like Messi, like Ronaldo back in their day, like Neymar. We rated them not on their press or XG or scan rate. We rated them in their output. Their output, assist and goal. Let's not change it. Let's not change it.
And you're supposed to rate the team.
Narrative. And I'll tell you why is the best example of this.
Okay.
We prefer to keep hold of Aubameyang over Lacazette. Why? Aubameyang had all the work rate and the press. And
no, he didn't have work rate. He just had goals.
He was energetic and he did a lot of things off the ball. But ultimately, we kept the striker that actually bagged the goals and got the numbers on the board. That is where you rate attacking players. You don't. This is why when Arsenal fans coming up with the idea of, oh, Havertz, look at his defensive duties. He's not a CDM. The way I judge Rice playing CDM is going to be, and Partey is going to be different to the way I judge a player that's an attacking player. Odegaard, Nketiah, Trossard, Saka. It's going to be different. The metrics are different. So yes, part of their job is to get back and defend, but let's not go on like we're going to give them a pass based off of that. Come on, bro.
No, but I judge the whole team as a whole. What you're doing is you're judging individual parts of the team. I'm judging the whole team as a whole. And I think as a team performance, it was a good performance. You could say there's parts to the game that we can improve on, but guess what? Against City, we were not going to win this game in a high-scoring fashion. We weren't going to score 3 goals and wipe them. A 1-0 victory against City, even as weak as they were in the midfield, was the only way we were going to do this result. If this was a high-scoring game, they would have probably capitalized.
But it doesn't work every game, i.e. Fulham.
That's why different horses.
We can't do it against Lons.
Guess what? Different horses for different courses. This game.
But the manager ain't changing it up again. That's exactly.
He changed it up 3 times this season already. He changed it up 3 times this season already. He went gung-ho against Bournemouth. He went conservative against Palace. Against Manchester United, we went toe for toe. And against City, we shut up shop. There's different ways that we played this season.
Not discipline, but also we took the game to them. We got up in their faces, and everybody who's come on already today said it. Every single player in that Arsenal team today was excellent. And then up front,
that is absolute cap, bro. Not every player was excellent. 6 of our players were shambolic against Man City. I don't care what no one tells me. Odegaard didn't create anything. He's in that team to create. He did nothing. It was a boring game. City wasn't excellent going forward. Neither were us. Yeah, Odegaard didn't create nothing. Jorginho didn't create anything. Oh, he kept the ball. Bro, we can get players from the under-21s that can hold on to the ball, bro. What are you doing with the ball? Yeah, because people were saying, "Oh, Man City had all the
Jorginho was the register for the night, bro."
It was possession that wasn't doing anything. We weren't doing anything with our possession. Eddie Nketiah not good enough, not clinical. That flipping, I'm sick and tired of that guy. Yeah, and Jesus, I don't want to see him again on the right.
Jesus
and
was
Trossard,
amazing.
Trossard wasn't good enough. I love Trossard and I love Jesus. Not good enough, bro. Not good enough.
Jesus was amazing. What are you talking about?
No, he wasn't. What did he do? The one time he could have passed the right, he didn't pass it. Did he score?
Jesus on that right flank was outstanding. He was outstanding.
He didn't score assists. How can you say he's outstanding?
He wasn't. 1 second. His job on that day wasn't to go out and score 7 goals or create 15 chances. His job was to make sure that, one, he tracked back and covered. On top of that, he came into the midfield and linked up. And the main thing that he did was his work rate and triggering the press. And starting the disruption. He disrupted that whole team. He caused chaos. Eddie Nketiah, Trossard, yes, they had poor games. But for you to sit here and say Jorginho was the next person you dig out, I thought Jorginho had a decent game.
Oh my God!
Listen, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna sit here. 1 second. I'm gonna defend Jorginho's Jorginho here, because Jorginho was the outball. Anytime somebody had any level of pressure, they would throw it to Jorginho to take the ball and to register to the next person. He was basically the deepest line playmaker who held on to the possession whenever it got kicked long, and he held on to that possession for us. For as long as he played, for the 75 minutes that he was on the pitch, he did well. And what Jorginho made Pep and these guys do, it actually threw them off. They were expecting Declan Rice and Partey, but Jorginho being in there, it had another person, and it gave the freedom for Declan Rice to actually be more forward in this game and helped us win the ball higher up.
And this is why this football club is done, because we give too much. No, we celebrate the bare minimum. Oh, Kai Havertz with the back pass, the simplest back pass to Martinelli. Oh, an amazing assist I saw from certain fans.
Needs it for his confidence.
Oh, Eddie Nketiah. Oh, he looks energetic. No wonder we got prime bottles all over this bloody stadium. Man's drinking energy drinks at half time.
By prime.
Like the bare minimum, Jorginho as a footballer in his 30s, because he held on to the ball.
Bro, Eddie Nketiah offered no threat.
Bare minimum, pound stretching Arsenal all the time. The bare minimum we celebrate into a massive thing. Oh, Reece Nelson is young. Let's give him a new contract. El Nene, he's loyal to the club. Let's give him... Always celebrating the bare minimum. It was the same when we had Lacazette. Oh, he runs around. Oh, he runs... He puts in a shift. Oh, that's it. That's good enough. That is good. This is what I'm saying. There's levels to this stuff. And to me, retaining the ball ain't enough. It's also what you do with the ball. Because I tell you what, Declan Rice did Havertz's job plus more. He was intercepting balls. He was winning tackles, winning his duels, and going up front, and could have had a brace getting into the right position in the box. That is what
man of the match performance.
That is what you call performance. Not somebody that holds on to the ball. You're going to hold on to the ball. You're passing backwards and sideways. Not once did we cut them up.
Who had the most touches in the game for Arsenal? Who was the person who every single time,
the game?
Who's the person who helped who dictated how we played? It was Jorginho. Jorginho was the guy. Every time we had a situation, they passed it to him. So
and what do you do? Retain possession and not do nothing. What about get it up to the front three so we can score a goal? What about that?
Guess what? That's not his job. That's not his job. His job, specifically Jorginho, was to help us keep momentum in our half of the pitch, and he did that.
Bro, we're always clinching at scraps.
Bro, we only had 2 shots on target, and we had like 8 shots the whole game.
What does that tell you? We didn't create enough.
We didn't create enough. But guess what? To say in a
we create enough against Lons?
In a 0-0 game. All it took was that one deflected goal for us to win it, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to. What I'm saying is that's not sustainable. That is not sustainable.
We're not going to win every single game this season playing this way. We're going to play different when we play against Chelsea away. Against Chelsea away, we're going to be a lot more controlling and a lot more aggressive in the final third. But still, our main focus every single game will to be control that midfield and to use our defense to our strength. Because our defense is our best part of our game, bro. And this is where, when Robbie says Mikel Arteta outsmarted Pep, he might not have outsmarted him, but his tactics worked to a T, because Pep wanted a shootout. What we wanted was a close game, and that's how we won it.
Jesus was brilliant, I thought, as well. I think he could have even cut couple of times he got himself into a great position. I'm like, let his shot off. Yeah. You know, but he was good. Trossard was decent until he came up. But then when Martinelli come up, his hands, and he is absolutely brilliant. And we deserve to win that today. City did not deserve to come away with that game with anything. They should have been down. Yeah,
They should have been down to 10 men. The guy, what do you think about that? Because I definitely feel like they should have been down to 10 men.
The referees absolutely bottled it. The referees in this Premier League are actually scared of being the headlines at this point, and they don't want to take initiative and actually do their jobs properly. And I've seen a report that this referee was also doing games in the UAE, and he's also employed by the similar people who work for Man City. So that's a conflict of interest, and these referees need to be investigated, because how are they working in the Premier League but also getting paid by the same people who own Man City for working in other leagues? I think that should be a conflict of interest. We should check these guys out. And I'm not criticizing Man City here. The owners have the right to hire whoever they want, but the Premier League should be checking into these guys, because there might be some corruption going on.
I can't argue with anything that you've just said, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Let's put that in.
We agree on some stuff. There you go.
We agree on one thing.
These referees are shit, man.
Nah, so that, and this is why I don't laugh at the rivals. When Liverpool didn't get the decisions that they should have got against Tottenham, I didn't laugh at them, because I know it's going to come back.
That referee was paid by Qatar also. He
allegedly. Let me put that official.
Like, there's reports these guys have had games where they refereed in Qatar, not in Qatar, in UAE.
Listen, people. There's 115 in the building right now. Feel start puta, hit the like. Yeah, otherwise me and the guy will stop talking. We won't debate no more. Yeah, now I need some Angolan discipline up in here. Hit the like button. Make sure you go and subscribe to Igal's channel as well. The link is in the title of the video. Make sure you go and do that. Do you know what I'm saying? So otherwise, don't make me get the slipper out again. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Go on. What you said?
Nah, nothing. Go ahead.
Let's go.
True to his principles, he puts Zinchenko in, and what you get with Zinchenko is a control. But what you also get is the ability to make mistakes, because as we've been discussing on various times, it's risk and reward. And today, all we got is reward and reward. There was absolutely zero mistakes. I don't remember.
This filho da puta is talking rubbish, bro. Let's not act like, yes, Zinchenko did well against Doku. Bro, this is why I get annoyed. Yeah, it's the overreaction. Overreaction. I was happy when we beat City. This Voldemort-looking filho da puta is now sitting there trying to come out with, with Zinchenko, we can make mistakes. Bro, he was part of the reason why we bottled it last season. Let's not forget.
No, but he's talking about this game,
ain't the one. He ain't
he's
the one.
Talking about this game.
No, but he said this is why you can play Zinchenko. You can afford to make mistakes with Zinchenko. The guy is a liability defensively. Let's call it out. And there was mistakes in this game. The start of the game, I've bigged up Declan Rice. So you're not going to say that I didn't big him up. Declan Rice made Declan Rice at the start of the game, the opening start of the game. We were nervous. Raya was making mistakes. Declan Rice missed passing it. Zinchenko missed passing it. And then we grew into the game. There was mistakes. And let's keep it real. Raya got closed down by Alvarez. The amount of bad passes from Raya, we were very lucky that not one of them led to a goal. Because again, you remember that mistake against Lons? Raya out the distribution to Tomiyasu and we suffered. We can't continue with that. Put that guy on the bench, bro, and put Ramsdale. Ramsdale's going to be hungrier than ever. But to sit there and say that, we can play with Zinchenko, it's risk and reward.
Wait. You want Raya on the bench? Excuse me? You want Raya on the bench? You know, Mikel Arteta after the game came out and said, that's all me. I told Raya to hold on to the ball extra longer than he usually does to force City to press him. And he was kind of nervous at the beginning, and that's my fault. So blame me, don't blame him.
Then put Arteta on the bench and get AirPod Albert out. I want AirPod Albert managing this team because that's some stupidness.
Anyways, no, but it did work. After you seen later in the game, it did work because it started at the beginning. It was very scary. Julian Alvarez almost scored that goal. But let's be honest, Zinchenko in this game, he did it. He was spotless. Only thing that he was annoying with, he was trying to get a goal so bad. He took 3 shots. I don't remember the last time I seen Zinchenko take 3 shots in a game.
He's a liability. Do you know what? I'd love him as a midfield option. As a defender, it's always shaky when he's on. He played well against Man City, and I'll give him the props when he plays well. Just like I gave Tomiyasu, that I don't rate, a man of the match against Lons. But ultimately, that's not the level.
We lost to Lons.
Saturday, apart from in the first few minutes, I saw what I would consider to be a faultless Arsenal performance. And just because of that first 11, it's because of the depth of our squad. And I know that we've had the discussion about Saka a number of times, but for me, we are not a one-player team. We have a massive squad.
That is bollocks. We do not have a massive squad.
Let me back him for a second. All he's really saying is we're not a one-man squad. We're not a team that's dependent on one individual player to perform week in, week out for us to win or lose. We have plenty different match winners. For example, Martin Odegaard can be a match winner on certain days. You got Martinelli who can be a match winner on certain days. You have Bukayo Saka who can pop up and be a match winner on certain days. And you now have also guys like Partey. You got guys like Declan Rice who can also be match winners on certain days. We know our defense, and Saliba and Gabriel are solid defensively also. They can win you matches based on the defensive performances also. So we're not a one-man team. He's right. He's not saying the whole squad is amazing. He's just merely saying the players that we do have to our disposal, even without injuries, even without no Bukayo Saka, no problem. We go out there and we deliver.
Cool. If that's the vibe, if Saka's out for months, I don't want to hear no crying. We ain't got Saka. For me, I'm not hearing none of that. And I'll tell you why. Yeah? Because we do not have one other player that we can rely on. Saka's been half of the player he was last season. He's been tired this season. And yet he still performs. He still scores in critical games. We don't have an out-and-out killer in this team. We don't have many players that take on players one-on-one, which is why a lot of times we look stagnant against teams that have a low block.
Bro, we have Martinelli.
So to say that, yes, last season, collectively, the goals were spread out. Ultimately, it wasn't enough to win the league. But when you're looking at this team, there's not enough quality. We have quantity, but we don't have the quality. We don't have the quality. And that is what you should be talking about.
Quality in Martinelli who can take people on and Saka who can take people on. You're making it seem like those guys don't take people on.
Which midfielder do we have that takes somebody on and create something? Because Odegaard, as soon as you press him, he does nothing. As soon as you press that guy, does nothing. You just said it yourself. Jorginho, he's just there to hold on to the ball. So he ain't going to create nothing. He just holds
Jorginho's a register, yeah.
Yeah, he just holds it. Yeah, holds it. That's what he does. He's like a shop, holding your sweets, holding your treats until you come and collect it. Well, what good is that to us? We don't have a striker that's going to take any. The only one we got is Jesus, and he's not clinical.
Bro, this game,
we have not got players that beat a man one-on-one. We don't have a player that creates something out of nothing. Everyone's robotic, which is why a lot of the times we play side-to-side football.
You want to know something?
Tennis football.
You want to know something? Let me stop you there for a second. They got Alvarez, they got Bernardo Silva, they got Foden. All three of them are probably amazing creators compared to what we had on the pitch yesterday, and with only Odegaard being anyone close to that level when it comes to creativity. Now, those guys were only able to register 4 shots the whole entire game, and 2 of them came from defenders in Gavardio and Ake. So even though they have better creators than us, we bossed the game based on our midfield and our defense. So it just goes to show you there's different ways to win games. We're not going to win every game this way. We're not going to win every game this way. But based on what you're saying right now, you're arguing over what we are deficient in, but you're not crediting what we're good in. And we try to win the game based on our strengths. Why are you going to go into a fight and try to fight somebody with a different style that doesn't benefit you?
Because I have not seen consistency. Because the quality that you're mentioning,
we have only lost one game.
The quality that you're mentioning was quality we had last season ago, and it wasn't enough.
We have quality this season.
We were 3 points ahead. We don't have good rotation for Saka. We don't have someone that's levels above Odegaard who goes missing in these kind of games. Offered nothing. We don't have a clinical goal scorer. We don't have a deep line player like Santi Cazorla, like we had in Santi Cazorla, that can transition that ball. Santi Cazorla was able to retain possession and spark an attack. Jorginho just holds the ball.
North side.
He might as well be, you know, the bag they got for the football. He might as well be then. He might as well hold the bag for the football.
Mikel Arteta knows everything you're saying. So instead of trying to play the way that you think we should be playing, he's playing the best way to capitalize on what we have to our disposal. Why?
How about go out in the transfer window and get what we need instead of going again with the same team practically that we had last season that fell short? Well, how about that? Because why do we have transfer windows then if you're not going to do that? We don't have to have this team. We didn't have to have Havertz. We didn't have to sign Reece Nelson. We didn't have to re-sign Nketiah. We didn't have to sign Fabi. We didn't have to sign these players, bro. We didn't. He chose to. So this is why I'm on his neck. Because this season is time to deliver. Now feel that thought I better deliver, bro. No more excuses.
Guess what? We both are agreeing. We both agree. We want him to deliver. I hope he will, and I think he will. But the way that you're approaching it is you're looking at all the things that we're weak in, and I'm looking at all the strengths that we have. I'm looking at our defense being the strongest that we've ever had it. I'm looking at our midfield being more compact and being able to control games better. You're looking at the attack. I am too, but the way you're looking at the attack is it's not good enough, and we need to improve. Where I'm saying, you know what, we've scored 16 goals. We could have, if we finished all our chances, be on 19 goals right now. We're not clinical.
Before I move on to the next clip, very quickly, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
20 years, this fan base has always looked on the bright side. Always been reactive instead of proactive. 20 years, we've not won a major honor. When we could have won the league against Leicester, do you know what everyone said? There's no, because Wenger come out and said there's no quality in the market. There's no quality in the market. And who goes on to win the league? Leicester. Last season, 8 points clear. I was saying it for time. We need more. Well, we're top of the league. Just be happy. Well, we're top of the league now. We're with Eddie Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah is performing one game and then one game not. Just be happy. Just back the team.
To be fair, they made 2 signings.
Like because everyone else thinking like you, looking at the positive. You don't improve by looking at the positive. You improve when you look at the negative. When I look at my life, if I look at just the positive, I've become complacent. I want more. So then I look at how I can be better, how I can make extra income, how I can get more money, how I can build a career past my retirement age that I don't have to work hard. It's called being proactive, not being reactive. The reason you're reactive and this fan base is reactive is because they don't see the signs, and everything's always rosy and they don't see the signs when they see them and call them out. But let's get into the next clip.
Absolutely proved today. So we did it without Saka. And I'm not saying we don't need Saka, because we do, but we can afford to not have Saka. We don't need to play him 70 games a season. We can afford to give him a rest and let him off, and hopefully he won't be anywhere near the England team, nowhere near Australia, nowhere near Italy. Come back and do the business against Chelsea.
Cool. I don't want to hear no excuses about we're missing Saka if he's out for months. No excuses. He just said we'll be fine. He just said we'll be fine. So cool. Let's get on to the next one.
Let's be honest. If Bukayo Saka missed months, there's going to be moments where we're going to need him, and we're going to look back and be like, "Yo, we should have. If we had Saka, it would be different," because he's still a world beater. But this whole thing that if he's out for 1 or 2 games, we can manage 1 or 2 games. It's just extended injury period will hurt us, of course. It will hurt anybody. Look, Man City turning.
So why didn't this manager plan for that?
Man City just lost 3 games in a row because Kevin De Bruyne is out and Rodri's out. Any team is vulnerable when their players are out, but you can't have too many of them out. You can have 1 or 2, but you can't have too many.
But we have 1 or 2. We don't have the whole team out.
Yeah,
so we should be able to manage it. This manager chose to get rid of Pepe and keep Reece Nelson.
Let me give you an example. If we had Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba both injured at the same time, it would be the same to City having Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne both out at the same time. The cover in those positions are okay, but it's not good enough against the top teams. We might struggle in that game.
Cool. I just don't understand why this manager's been here for 4 years and we've not bought at least one right winger. Is that not backup planning?
Right winger, because we have Saka and we have one of the best right wingers in the world.
Okay, but you just told me if he's out for more than 2 games, then we have a problem there. So
no, because Jesus is going to have to play there, and he plays different to Saka.
But okay, cool. So then it's not a problem if he's out for longer because we'll play.
It will be eventually, but I'm saying it's manageable in moderation. It can't be.
But that's very risky, though, isn't it? Because if Saka's out for the season, which it can happen. It can happen. Players can get injuries
if Liverpool miss Mo Salah, if Man City miss this player, anybody who's missing their best player.
Liverpool got rotation. They got rotation.
They don't. Not for Mo Salah. Mo Salah gets injured, they're fucked. Same way, if Man City, they have Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne out, they're fucked too. Any team who's missing their best player or 2 of their best players are going to be underperforming. That's just the reality.
Okay, so it's okay for a manager to go in transfer after transfer, seeing that there's a weakness that we should. I'm not saying that you're going to get a player that's as good as Saka, but at least someone that can compete or can come in and do a job.
this is my theory. I don't think you can address every single need in a team in a transfer window. Even the best team in the world in Manchester City,
4 years.
Even the best team in the world in Manchester City have a major flaw. They have no cover for Rodri.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, it's the reality, bro. There's no way. This is not FIFA. We can't go. People can't just go out there and get the best player in every position and then have the best backup in every position.
So this manager's had roughly 8 transfer windows, and you're telling me we can't bring at least one right winger? You're telling me that, yeah?
No, I'm not saying we can't bring a right winger.
Okay, so then that falls on lack of planning for the manager. We praise him when he brings in the right players, but if he doesn't fill in certain holes that are gaping holes that we need, you have to put it on the manager and everybody else that's involved in the transfers.
This is why we want to give
him praise when we got rotation.
Let me tell you why I'm not condemning him. Let me tell you why I'm not condemning him on this topic specifically. Because I think there's other priorities. It's not a situation where we can look back at the team and the construction of the team and say, you know what, we still needed another center back and another person who could play defensively. What did he do? He went and signed Timber. We can say we acknowledge we needed Declan Rice after Granit Xhaka left, and we did that. Kai Havertz, I can agree with you. Jury's still out on him. We have to see if he's going to ever perform to the level where we can say, you know what, this was a good signing. But right now, jury's still out on him. When it comes to Martinelli, Trossard, that forward line, basically they're going with this team until January, and I'll see if they go and sign Pedro Neto or if they go and sign Ivan Toney in January. But for now, it does look like they were going to weather the storm until January. And that's based on reports that we're hearing from journalists. They keep talking about us going and signing Neto or Ivan Toney in January. So I'm thinking that's what they're banking on.
Okay, let's get into the next one.
You know, you saw a heroic performance by 11 Arsenal players based on the fact that they did their jobs, based on the fact that they didn't make too many mistakes, apart from Raya having 2, if not 3 moments where he nearly cocked up. If you look at the football that we played today, we took the game to Man City, off the ball, Odegaard. Again, he pressed from the front and led by example.
How did he lead by example? The guy had a bad game. He didn't have a good game. How can you have a number 10 that creates nothing? A 10. Man's talking like he's a CDM. Rice created more and did more and looked more dangerous in the final third than Odegaard. How is that a good performance? I don't understand the Bukhari and the need to flipping suck off some of these players that didn't do well. I don't get it. I will praise players that I don't rate if they have a good game. And I will criticize Trossard, which I rate. Jesus, which I rate. Didn't have a good game. What's this thing in his favorites, bro? He didn't have a good game, bro.
I don't agree with him. But one thing I will say to maybe defend him a little bit, fans see the game differently in the stadium. So maybe he was viewing what he was doing off the ball when the camera was on the other side as something that we weren't seeing. So I'm just going to say in the stadium, depending on where you're sitting, if you're just seeing the player constantly running after defenders pressing, you might be seeing it as he's working harder than some of these other guys.
Nah, you know what it is with Arsenal fans, yeah? They watch the game with Arsenal highlight contact lenses, bro. That's how they see the game, yeah? Highlight vision, bro. Everything is just highlights. They don't watch 90 minutes. It's highlights. You know what I'm saying? Which is why a lot of them got very giddy about Kai Havertz when he didn't really do much. And I've seen them get giddy about Kai Havertz. Does one little thing and all of a sudden it's a good game. Nah, bro, it's what you do for the duration of the time.
He changed the game. Kai Havertz changed the game.
Odegaard, I'm sorry, the bare minimum is running around for a football player.
Bro, Kai Havertz changed the game.
Bro,
listen, Partey
enough. Not good enough.
Passed the ball to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu passed the ball to Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz brought it down and then passed it to Thing. And then it was a goal. Now, it wasn't only that moment. There was another moment when it was a throw-in. Kai Havertz brought it down and gave it to Jesus for a shot. There were moments in that substitution where you could see Kai Havertz's role was to be like a skinnier Olivier Giroud. That's what he did.
So now he's a skinny Olivier Giroud, yeah?
Bro, that's what I call him. I don't know why you're laughing so bad. That's what he is. That's what his role was.
Oh, I'm dead.
He did that in the Community Shield. Don't lie. You've seen that.
Oh my god, that cracked me up. Nah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The skinny Olivier Giroud.
Nah, he did look like the skinny Olivier Giroud that game. Come on. He did change the game. Come on.
Bro, that pass he made to Martinelli, anyone can make that pass.
Guess what? Guess what? Not everyone actually brings it down.
Bro, I'm sorry. The bare minimum you're giving this guy. I'm sorry. The bare minimum you're trying to big him up. Listen, well done, he got the assist. But
random in the chat need a pause, bro. People are saying they're clapping. What's going on?
It's a joke thing, bro. Listen, let's get into the rest of it. Let's get into the rest of it.
All right.
And up top, Gabriel Jesus was the main threat for me. I mean, Eddie Nketiah works as hard as he could, but that's the bare minimum.
He agrees with you.
Give him a round of applause. He ran around. Amazing. How can a player with 2 legs run around? You got to praise that. I mean, come on. That's special right there.
Today, mid-league's one, and I said at the start of the season, we can go unbeaten. I think we'll go unbeaten this season.
Wow, that's a big statement.
I think we'll go unbeaten this season.
Shout out Ahmed. I know that guy. Shout out Ahmed.
Of course he's one of your boys. Of course he's one of your boys.
Shout out Ahmed.
The deluded gang. Nah, come on, nigga. That's shameless, bro. You think we're going to go undefeated?
What did he say?
He said we can go undefeated.
Why is he being like Daud?
What's going on over there? What's going on?
I don't know, man.
East Africa, what's going on right now?
We're having too many bananas with our rice. That's what it is. The potassium's getting to our head. Listen, the potassium's getting to our head. Listen, I don't think it's crazy to say we're playing well this season so far in the defensive aspect. And once we click into gear with our attack, that we could be a very threatening team and grow into the season. Why is it that City are allowed to have slow starts, but when Arsenal have a slow start, it's, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Let's kind of calm down. We're still undefeated in the league, and we only lost 1 game, and it's against Lens. I'm not too worried.
You're not too worried.
I think
end of the season. End of the season. We'll do it in your channel. End of the season.
We'll talk. Don't worry.
We're gonna have a good show. We're gonna have a good show.
Don't worry.
We gave City a footballing masterclass today. We did. Everybody put their part. Everybody did their part. It was a footballing masterclass. Now,
facts.
Today's game. The best thing about today's game is that not one of the players was overawed by City. Not one of them. Yeah.
Mentality was on point today. Nobody was scared. Mentality was on point. They weren't scared of them. They were ready for the moment, and that's what we needed to do, and we did that. This City team, without Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri, we looked across them and we're like, you know what? We're going to beat these guys today. And we went out there and we did it. It didn't matter how we did it. We did it.
So you were happy with our strike force, the way they performed?
Bro, I told you I didn't care. We get out of there with the smash and grab and we leave. This is a team that we weren't able to beat for 12 games in a row. For 8 years. It doesn't matter. You just need to get your monkey off the back. In order to beat the champions, you have to beat the champions. And that's what we did.
So why didn't this filo da puta looking like Akon? Why couldn't he just said that? You know what? We didn't have not everyone actually performed, but you know what? Everyone gave a professional, well, most of us gave a professional performance.
Because after the game, people get gassed. You yourself were sitting here with a cigar the other day. So let's be honest. After the game, when these interviews do happen, they're very gassed. After the game, I said we bossed City. But guess what? Going back and looking at it, we didn't boss the game. What we did was we managed our game and we kept them controlled. Where if we bossed them, we would have scored multiple goals. What we did was we controlled the game. We controlled it.
Okay, cool. But I don't know if you saw my match reaction since you bringing it up. Yeah. Not one time did I say that was a complete performance. I said defensively, we played excellently and kept us in the game to nick it 1-0. That's what I said, bro. So why can you say that?
Lee Gunner's right. We did beat Leicester twice, but that's different. This time we know what we know. In order to beat Manchester City, we're going to need 90+ points. And if we're going to go toe to toe with them for the end of the season, the difference maker is going to be these 6-pointers. Last season, we lost to them twice. If we would have beat them once last year, we probably could have been champions. Based off the emotional attachment. What? What is he talking about?
He said, so you lied. It's based off the emotional attachment.
What is?
I'm not sure because I was lining up the next video. I can't lie, I was lining up the next video.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm not sure what part. But let's get into the next video. I'm not sure what part he was mentioning. But big up to Lee, you know what I'm saying? My uncle. Everyone says that's my dad. You know what I'm saying? I finally found my dad. He's been missing for 31 years. So you know what I'm saying? I finally found him, bro. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Is that why you look like Chris Breezy?
Do you know what I got? The Arsenal Van Dijk. That's what I got.
There you go.
I can't lie. Listen, let's get into the last video. Well, oh, here it is. Here it is. He said, "Boss City then said we didn't do so, so he lied."
No, I got gassed and I kind of overgassed the analyzation of the game. But when I looked at it again, we didn't really boss the game. We more or less just controlled our part of the game and we tried to keep it close. And then at the end of the day, we got a lucky goal. That's the reality.
Cool, exactly. Because the midfield wasn't good enough. The creative part of our midfield and our attack wasn't good enough. Let's get into the next one.
I thought, like Lee said, Kai Havertz, he did well, set up the goal. Yeah, we got a bit lucky with the Martinelli deflection. But we deserved that luck. We outplayed them, Robbie. Yes, in the second half, they had a lot of the ball, but they weren't doing anything with it, Robbie. And then on the counter-attack, and I thought Arteta, like Lee said, was fantastic. Those 3 substitutions at half-time were spot on. We're going to win the league! Yeah!
That guy was fair. He was very fair.
We're going to win the league. No, hold on. He said we're going to win the league.
Bro, go back to what he said at the beginning. He agrees with you perfectly. And then he just says one thing that you don't disagree with, and then boom, you don't like him anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to mention a bit I don't agree with. Exactly. We're going to win the league. Come on,
bro. If you agree with somebody on 90% of the things that they say, and then they say one thing you don't like, you're done with them.
No, I'm done with that bit of the conversation. The last thing he said is going to win the league is delusional. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Why
we're
not?
sure.
It's too early to say we're not going to win it.
Has this bench changed?
Bro, has City changed? Yes.
So you believe that that Pep's not going to fix them up from after that performance? Yeah?
And you believe that Mikel Arteta is just going to let this team regress for the rest of the season?
Because Mikel Arteta threw away all the cup competitions, which he can't do this season, and only got second last season.
Guess what? What does that have to do with this season?
Because the things, bro, this season, when you look at it as a whole, these are the reasons why I'm not happy, yeah? We've seen this team bottle it in the North London derby when we was ahead. Yeah. We've seen this team holding on for a draw against Fulham. We've seen this team get piped in Europe against a team that is 15th in the French league. This manager, in general, no, I'll let you land. I'm saying the reasons why.
We didn't get piped, bro.
The bench, yes, we did. Yes, we did. We had almost 70% possession.
Bro, 2-1 is not piped.
That possession against Lens.
2-1 is not piped.
Team, which is the equivalent of Bournemouth.
2-1 is not piped.
Good enough.
2-1 is not piped.
Then this manager, a lot of the time, doesn't make the right substitutions. He's not fixed the bench because most of the players that he's brought in are now starters. That bench is near enough the exact same bench we had last season that was deemed a light bench. And there's too many positions that are not fixed. And also, this manager plays one system. I've still not seen a plan B. Yes, against Man City, he brought off different players and it worked and we played a long ball. I've not seen consistently that this manager is able to change formation and tactics within game to win the league. This season, we have not.
One second. You're going to hate this. But he said in the Community Shield, we played 44 different formations. So he clearly thinks he was playing different formations. But let me bring a serious point. Do you really believe we play the same way against every team? Because that's not real. Come on, we've seriously.
Bro, we don't play on the. Do we play on the front foot again? Be real. Do we play? No,
but that's a different way of playing. Have we played different in every way?
And we've looked worse. Have we not looked worse from last season?
We've been more controlled, bro. We've been more
controlled. Have we not looked worse? Be honest.
Guess what? We're not as free-flowing because we're facing more low blocks. It's understandable. We're facing more teams that are setting up defensively against us. We're not facing as many teams that are giving us less respect. The fact is, last year, teams didn't respect us. So we were able to blitz them and score 3-4 goals. This season, teams are giving us a lot more respect, which means we have a lot less space, which means we have a lot less chance to create chances, and which means we're going to have less goals. But what it does do, it means we have more possession. And when we do have the ball more, we don't give as many chances away. So this season, defensively, we're better. This season, we're better with our possession. This season, we've actually been just as good. It's just we were unlucky to draw one game one more game than we did last year. We lost one game last year.
Let me tell you this.
Last year at this
I'm
point,
not even a coach. I'm not even a coach.
1 point less.
Obviously, I'm not a coach. I'm a football fan. I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah?
Yeah.
If you're coming up, if you know that teams are going to respect you this season, knowing the way that you play, one thing you do, two things you do. You get a clinical striker because you're not going to get as many chances because the opposition are coming to nullify you. That's one thing you do. And the second thing you do, you get a number 10 that actually can take men on, doesn't get disorientated as soon as he's pressed and can't play the ball, that actually looks for the pass. Even if he misses a lot of the times, he actually tries to thread the ball through the eye of the needle and try and get it up to the front three. Those are two things you could do. The manager didn't do any of that. He didn't do any of that. He has not accommodated for us playing this defensive style of football. Conte had a top banger when he wanted to play that kind of football. He did it at Inter. He had two strikers that could play off of each other, Martinez and Lukaku. And in that league, Lukaku was banging when he was playing this controlling the game football. Simeone had it with Diego Costa. Mourinho had it with Benzema. When you play this kind of football, you need somebody that's going to bury chances. Even if you're only going to have 2-3.
We're going to get Ivan Toney or Osimhen.
We don't have that. We don't have that. We have Jesus.
We don't have that. But bro, I'm just going to say this. In the January transfer window, we can rectify that. In the summer, the reason why they might not have done that is for two reasons. One, we just spent 105 million on Declan Rice. It's not a situation where you're going to now go and be cheap on the striker. If you're going to buy a striker in today's market, you're going to have to go big. Go big or go home. You do not go and get a 30 million pound striker and he's going to solve your problems. Then you're going to have a Nicholas Jackson problem. And you're going to be saying, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson all week, whenever he plays, like Chelsea fans, right? And then are you guys going to be happy with Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Are you going to be happy with these other guys who are just on the same level as Eddie Nketiah or just below Jesus? I don't want that. What I want is if we go get Ivan Toney, we go and get a Victor Osimhen, we go and get a Bagsman. I don't even want this Evan Ferguson right now because I think he's still not proven enough for him to improve us to the level we need to be. So I'm only looking at two people. If you bring me Ivan Toney or if you bring me Victor Osimhen in this Arsenal team, that'll be the final infinity stone to this gauntlet. And bro, we'll be invincible.
Bro, listen, end of last season, when everyone was celebrating being back in the Champions League, they said we can attract world-class players. Yeah? So I'm not hearing this thing that we don't have money because we have money. We have money because we have enough money to blow on 65 million pound Kai Havertz. For me, I'm sorry, bro. I can't be accepting that. If we want to get to the top tier of football, we need to be going at it. Yeah, seriously. I'm not hearing this. Yeah, this manager has, if he doesn't have the funds, then he's mismanaged the funds because there's a lot of players he's brought into Arsenal at his time here that is a waste of money. Cedric, Tomiyasu is not a starter because he ain't good enough. Fabi Vieira, Lokonga, re-signing El Nene, re-signing Reece Nelson, yeah? Re-signing Eddie Nketiah. This ain't good enough. It isn't good enough, bro.
How many times are you going to mention Eddie Nketiah?
Bro, because at the end of the day, when he's spending money, yeah? When he's spending money on these players that do nothing, yeah? You buy cheap, you buy twice.
No, but
so
that's his
problem.
The thing is, it seems like every time you get upset.
Look at Brighton got Ferguson. Why can't we get a Ferguson? How are they able to get players?
Ferguson's not proven enough.
Yeah, but at least they went and got the player. They're not breaking the bank. How much did they buy for flipping Caicedo? How much did they get? Did they have Basuma as well?
But bro, if we got Jakub Kabor, we got Jakub Kabor. 1 second, we got Jakub Kabor for cheap, and you're not even giving him a chance.
He's a bomb. He's a bomb.
If Jakub Kabor was playing week in, week out at another club, you'd say, look at how good he is.
He got put on the bench over Rob Holding. If a defender goes to Man United and gets put on the bench over Maguire, do you rate him? No, you don't. Let's be real.
No, maybe the coach is an idiot. Listen, I'll say this. First of all, I am not going to go back to Fabio Vieira, Eddie Nketiah, and all these things, all these points after everything. I'm going to speak on the game specifically. And I feel like there's been games this season where we've not been clinical, and it's not down to individual performances. It's more down to the chances that we've not created. I agree with you there. And the fact that certain players, yes, Eddie has not been clinical this season. He screwed us over against Tottenham. So did Jesus. Those guys have to fix up their chances. We do need a striker. But I don't know why you keep bringing up the same point. We agree on that point. It's almost redundant at this point. It's like me bringing up the fact that we lost to Tottenham because of injuries, and we lost the league because of injuries. And I blame Arteta also for not doing his changes. But this season, I've seen improvements from his substitutions. I've seen improvements in how he uses the squad, and hopefully he can do it a little bit better so we don't have more injuries in the second after the international break.
Bro, for me, like I said, I'm not hearing none of this. We ain't got money. I'm not hearing it because that's a load of BS.
I didn't say we don't have money. I just said in order for us to buy a good striker in the summer, we would have had to spend upwards of 100 to 150. And I think because we spent so much money on Declan Rice, they were going to just leave it until January or later to do it again.
Then why get rid of Balogun? It gives you an option.
Oh my God. Balogun, this whole Balogun situation, it's pretty blatantly obvious what happened with Balogun, bro. It's obvious what happened with Balogun.
Explain to me.
The guy wanted to move on for his career. We couldn't offer him a starting job. He didn't want to fight for his career.
You are under contract by this club. You either play or you go in the
I don't think Balogun is that much going to move the needle for us at this moment in time. He started a year ago for us against Brentford when we lost. As much as
Balogun will do more than Eddie Nketiah.
Guess what? I don't want more than Eddie Nketiah. I want levels above Eddie Nketiah.
Exactly. Call this manager out. Exactly. I agree with you. Call this manager out.
I don't think Balogun.
It's not right.
You want to know uncomfortable conversation? Uncomfortable conversation. Eddie Nketiah in the French league bags 20 goals. Easy. That's the reality. Uncomfortable conversation. We've seen uncomfortable conversation. Eddie Nketiah in the French league bags the same amount of goals as Balogun.
Bro, he's a bum. Bro, he didn't even do it in the championship. Wasn't he in the championship with Leeds?
The way
that they didn't even run him, bro.
The way that they were playing in France, they're playing to his strengths. At Arsenal, we do not play to hit Balogun's strengths. We do not pass the ball in behind for him to run onto. We don't. That's
the way Eddie plays. That's the way Eddie plays. Eddie doesn't hold the ball up and bring people into the game. Eddie runs down the channels. So we don't play to Eddie either. So might as well get the better out of the two. You might as well keep that
Eddie's willing to accept his role. At this point, they kept Eddie over Balogun because one, Balogun wasn't given Balogun and Eddie have the same agent. That's one. So that's one reason the agent probably wanted one of his players out of the club. And number two, let's be honest, Balogun, for his own career's sake, he wants to be playing first team football as much as possible to keep that number one spot for the US national team. So, bro, I don't think
hearing that. You're telling me that Eddie Nketiah is happy to play his role, bro. We kept Rob Holding.
Eddie Nketiah is happy to be a backup, bro.
We kept Oneni that's happy to play his role. We kept Lacazette that's happy to play his role. We've kept Reece Nelson happy
Eddie
to play his
Nketiah
role.
is a serviceable.
Bro, these guys are bums, bro.
Don't tell me Eddie Nketiah is not a serviceable backup when you got people like
Martial. No, he's not. He's not. I got his stats right now. 8 appearances, 2 goals. The guy's a bum, bro. And it's not just this season.
How many players in this league that are backups have 2 goals?
If you're telling me that he's adequate enough, why do you want a new striker? Because he's not adequate enough.
Because I think we could do better than him.
Exactly, because he ain't good enough. Exactly. Why?
No, it's not because he's not good enough. It's because his role is his role. I don't want him as a starter. I want him as a backup.
But he's not good enough as a backup because I tell you what, even to come on and impact games, he doesn't do it often enough to even be a good backup. He doesn't. He doesn't score them goals that we need to get over the line enough.
But right now, we're not having an Eddie conversation. We're having an Eddie or Balogun conversation. So what makes you believe Balogun is better than Eddie Nketiah right now?
Because I've seen this before, yeah. You know what? Do you know why, yeah? I have a feeling, and I may be wrong, but I have a feeling, yeah. Do you remember when we had Iwobi? And everyone was gassing out, Iwobi. He had so many chances at Arsenal, yeah? But who did we get rid of? Gnabry. He went on loan one time to West Brom, and we never gave him a chance. Who became the better player? We have not given Balogun a fair shot at this club. We haven't. Let's keep it real. Eddie Nketiah has been in here for years now and shown that he's not good enough. So I'm done with the experiment for Eddie Nketiah because I can see his ceiling. And his ceiling is not of the level of Arsenal. Balogun is still unproven. So I don't understand. One player has a great loan spell. Another player comes up short once again in the league. And that is the player that we keep. I'm sorry. That ain't good enough for me. And I'm not saying Balogun is the be-all, end-all, or the striker that I want, like the main striker. I wanted him as third option. But when a player's under contract, you tell him to shut up and put up with it. Yeah, you're under contract and you will play. And if you don't play and give your all, you can go under 21s. You are under contract. Otherwise, it's a breach of contract. That's how we got to move, bro. You can't have player power. At the end of the day, if we don't have the money to spend in the last transfer window, listen, we ain't got the money. You're going to have to shut up. We'll let you go. But at the end of the day, you need to hold on until January and then we'll get a world-class striker. But for me, the reason I get annoyed at Arteta is because we haven't got somebody that's better than Odegaard. We haven't got someone that's better than...
Wait. There's not a lot of players in the world football right now that you can buy to play Odegaard's position that are better than him.
Odegaard is average. He is average. When you give him space against the small teams, he turns up. The big games, he goes missing. Last 10 games to go to win the league, goes missing. Yesterday, the other day against Man City, goes missing. Please do not justify that Odegaard turns up and he actually leads. We've had Patrick Vieira. He wasn't selective when he turns up. This kid should not be captain, bro. That is a squad player.
Hold on. So you're sitting here saying Odegaard doesn't show up in big games. You're acting like he didn't show up against Tottenham in the last game. You're acting like he didn't show up against Manchester United. You're acting like these games, all these games, he's terrible in.
Last season, end of the season, Nottingham Forest. Where was he?
What?
Last season, with 10 games to go, I swear we played Nottingham Forest and we lost last season. End of the season. Am I right?
Yeah, that's when the league was already done. The league was already done.
You're the captain.
Bro, what are you
Where were you in the games prior to that?
You're being selective with this Odegaard hate, bro.
Because you have to play 38 games to the top level to win the league.
Listen, everyone plays 38 games in the league. I could pick out the last 4 games.
Where was he against London?
I could pick out the last 4 games and say, where's Erling Haaland? Does that mean Erling Haaland's a bad player?
For fuck's sake.
Where was Erling Haaland against Arsenal? Where was Erling Haaland? All of a sudden is Erling Haaland a bad player? No, come on. People have bad games. People have good games. But when you have a player of that quality, you understand that more times than not they're going to perform. The man scored 15 goals,
and that's the point. More times than not, he goes missing, especially when we need him to turn up.
He had 15 goals in the Premier League last season, 7 assists. He produced statistically, and
the crunch end of the season. Where was he, bro? Was he our star performer as a captain? Was he?
He was one of the best players in the league, for God's sake.
Yeah, to your standard. Your standard of not winning anything.
What is your standard? In 15 goals, 7 assists for
38 games, he didn't turn up for enough games. Not good enough.
By the way, he only played 37 last season and 15 goals and 7 assists for a midfielder. Not a winger, a midfielder. This guy
is the epitome.
One second. It's one of the best statistical seasons.
3 assists.
1 second. That is actually, you want to know something? Statistically, that's one of the better midfield performances from Arsenal midfielder since Cesc Fabregas and Mesut Ozil. Do you realize that?
You know why world-class players are world-class? Because they turn up more times than they don't. And when their team are backed against the wall, they turn up. Yeah. When it's crunch end of the season, they turn up. When their team is losing, they change a game. Odegaard does not change a game. He doesn't change a game. Odegaard plays well when we are playing well.
God.
When we are up against, why didn't he change the game against Lons then? Another passenger. What about in the North London derby? He doesn't perform for the whole period of the game.
God. Bro, does he have 1 second? Bro, are you sitting here verbatim and saying Odegaard was bad last season? Please tell me you're not saying that.
Odegaard is not world class. Because world class.
Bro, I didn't ask you if he's world class. I'm asking you straight up. Are you sitting here and telling me Odegaard had a bad season last year?
I'm telling you, Odegaard ain't the level.
Odegaard
is a good player, not a world class player.
What is the level? Because
the level is Gundogan. You say Gundogan last season? Bowler. Yeah. And when they needed him, hold on. When they needed him, he turned up, bro. He turned up when they needed him. Yeah. Scoring goals, scoring in Europe. We're playing in Europa last season. Where's Odegaard? We should be winning that. With a dead squad. Emery inherited a dead squad, yeah? He was able to get to the European final. Why can't Odegaard lead us to a European final?
Bro.
Because he ain't good enough. Yeah? Gundogan. That is a baller. That is a world-class midfielder.
1 second.
Gundogan.
1 second. Gundogan was actually less reliable than than Martin Odegaard last season for 2 reasons. One, he was not available as much as Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard played 37 games. Gundogan only played 27. Out of those 27 games, he was subbed on as a substitute for 4 of them and subbed off for another 10. So out of those 27 games, he was subbed off or subbed on 14 times. He didn't even play the full 90. The whole season, he played the full 90 13 times. You're telling me a player in Martin Odegaard who played 37 games, who was there for the whole season, who's the captain. Yes, Gundogan is City's captain, and he was reliable. He scored 8 goals for them. He got them 4 assists, and he was reliable on the business end of the season. If you're judging who was the better player based on who does well for the last 10 games of the season, then you're not looking at the whole picture. You're just looking at a
player.
Earlier, my man said.
Point of this, we're gonna wrap up because I only promised you 45 minutes. The whole point of this is Gundogan turns up when his team needs him. Back against the wall, they need to win to progress. They need to win to get the 3 points. He digs up a performance consistently. The way Gundogan played at the end of last season, that is the difference between a Gundogan and an Odegaard. That is the difference. It's all good getting 2-3 assists against Bournemouth, 2-3 assists against Fulham, and all of this. But when you get to the crunch end of the season, yeah, the reason the Invincibles are the Invincibles, because when it comes to the crunch end, they got it over the line. That is the difference between and that is the difference between everybody else. I've seen Son.
Bro, instead of saying he's not good enough, when you compared him to Martin,
he's not the level. You're trying to make him seem
bro, you keep saying level. This is you having unrealistic standards. You're saying levels. Explain to me who in the league besides Gundogan you want that level to be, because you basically said Odegaard and Gundogan. Gundogan and Odegaard are not the same position, by the way. Kevin De Bruyne and Odegaard are that same position, right? In that team, in the player who's that guy who does majority of that role, the goal scoring and the assisting. And Odegaard last season, based on what people have been asking from him, which is to produce GA and to produce consistent performances. He was doing that last season. And this season so far, he's been good. But you're making it seem like he's been shocking. We've played 8 games. He has 3 goals. If I'm not mistaken, he has 3 goals and he has 1 assist in the league. On top of that, from those games, we can name a handful of those games where he was basically almost the man of the match. He's been player of the month already, I think, once. So I'm not going to sit here and take slander for Odegaard, because I feel like you can criticize him when he has bad games, and don't think I don't criticize him when he has bad games like he did against Man City. But guess what? When he has good games like he did against Manchester United or Tottenham last season, or you look at the Chelsea performance from a couple of years ago, these kind of games that we have on a consistent basis, there's no need to worry. Like I think you're over exaggerating massively. Wait until you see a patch of games where he's actually poor, and then we can talk. Bukayo Saka, you said earlier in the video he's having a poor season. If this is Bukayo Saka having a poor season...
No, I never said that. Bukayo Saka is tired.
He started slow.
And even when he's been tired this season, because he's played almost 90 games in a row, he still turned up. That's why I said it.
Yeah. I know. Maybe not you, but some people have been saying Bukayo Saka himself is having a poor season. He's producing, even though he's been having a slow start. He's actually, based on FootMob's ratings, he's the highest rated player in the Premier League, based on how he's produced week in, week out, consistency-wise. So
ultimately, we've seen these same players that you're rating come up short last season, season before that, and the season before that. Not much has changed. And yes, we bought Declan Rice and Havertz. Havertz doesn't look like a £65 million player because he never was. Rice has played very well, but doesn't solve all our problems. We need a better striker. We need another 10 that is going to turn up when our backs up against it, like it was against Man City. We got away with it. There's going to be games we're not going to get away with it. We need better than Odegaard. And ultimately, the best players turn up in the biggest stage in the crunch end of the season. Odegaard is yet to still do that. You can praise him for what he's done during the season. Nothing matters if you don't get over the line. And when he's not the only one, and he's not the only one to get blamed, because Jesus isn't clinical enough as well.
Let me ask you.
He's not the only one. Bro. But ultimately, a lot of these players, I'm yet to see them have that in them to get it over the line.
You need to stop doing something, bro. And it really annoys me. When I ask you a question, what do you mean by the level? You need to explain what you mean by level, because you keep saying level. What do you mean by level? Bro,
first of all, I gave you the example.
This is your own.
I gave you the example.
Expectations.
No, I gave you the example.
But your example.
I gave you
example. Odegaard outperformed your example.
Gundogan performed when it was necessary, when it was needed to get his team over the line. Not only in the Premier League, but also in the Champions League. KDB performs all the time for Man City, and we saw the difference when he's not in the team because Haaland got no service. Yeah, there are examples in this league. Yeah, so let's not act like this is the highest level we've ever seen.
So Odegaard doesn't perform when we need him.
Nobody's talking about how great Odegaard's performance was against Man City. We're talking about Declan Rice is the only one that's getting all the praise about the Man City
because
game.
Not every player is gonna have a great performance every game.
But I've been seeing this season after season where there's games where he goes missing. So what? I'm not gonna call it out. I'm just gonna ignore
it out as much as you want, but to chastise and say he's not good enough.
I said we needed better. You got triggered because I said we need better.
Who is better than him?
Did I not name 2 players? Yes, we can't get them, but there's other players out there. We could have got Madison. I rate Madison more than I rate Odegaard.
Madison is better than Odegaard.
Yep.
Bro, I'm done.
You'll see the season then, innit? You'll see the season. I know, because he's a Spurs player, you don't want to say it, but at the end of the day, he's a better player, bro. He's a better player. He actually performs. He can get pressed, and he actually plays out of the press. This Odegaard does not play out of the press.
You're gonna see that Madison is. You're gonna see that James Madison is not as reliable as Odegaard.
We're gonna see then, innit? We're gonna see. Listen. People, make sure you like and subscribe to I was going to say to Odegaard.
No, 1 second. When has James Madison ever had a 15-7 season in the league?
Huh?
You're going to see this season, even though he's at Tottenham.
He
started off well, but it's going to curtail. And then at the end of the season, we're going to talk about it.
Okay, cool. We'll see. Because before he was at Leicester.
Yeah, you're right. I can't compare. But he's at Tottenham right now, so we can't even compare that either because Tottenham's shit.
Okay, cool. We'll see. Listen, people, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you also go like and subscribe to Miguel. The link is in the description. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but Madison has never played under pressure. I think he's dealing quite well with the pressure so far at Tottenham as an individual. I'm not saying Tottenham are going to do amazing. I'm saying Madison, I'm seeing him perform. I've been impressed with Madison, but we'll see this season, innit? We'll see.
Wait. Pull up Lee's comment. Egal loves stats, so Madison is so clear, right? How is he clear?
I've not checked the stats, to be honest.
Martin Odegaard is way clear in stats. What are we talking about? If we look at performances, also, we just said we can't compare Leicester. So, do we want to handicap James Madison by comparing stats? I don't know.
Right, cool. So we're gonna move on. Anyway, people, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Subscribe to both channels. Igal's link is in the title of the video. And without further ado, we're out for me.